The first big week of high school hoops is in the books. And of course, as always, I have the voices of Moline and UT here, Grant Dahlstrom and Joe Winkle. Both of your teams were in the Galesburg tournament and both went undefeated. Moline beat Limestone and Little Village, and UT also being Little Village and Madison. First, I'll just give it to both of you and give your impressions on the first two games of your teams and what you saw.
Well, Moline's played three, obviously. They lost the opener to Quincy Notre Dame, which I thought, looking at that, just speaking for Moline first, that first game, back and forth, Quincy Notre Dame, a 2A school, but they're very, very good. Probably one of the 5 or 6 best teams in 2A right now. They have a lot of guys back, a really good player that had a good game against Moline. And in that fourth quarter, when it was tight, you could tell Moline was never in a position. Both teams in that game, Quincy Notre Dame looked like a team that had played a lot of varsity basketball together, and Moline looked like a team that was their first game at full bore for 32 minutes at that pace at varsity. So for Moline, it's a bit of a process. Over the weekend on Friday, I thought they looked good. I thought Josh Hendricks got going, which was good. He had a tough game. He had a rough game against Quincy Notre Dame. He was awesome in the game against Limestone. Brady Welch was fantastic against Little Village. And Moline kind of asserted their will in those games and pulled away. And same for UT. The Little Village game was a little bit dicier for UT than it was for Moline, but Little Village is athletic. They played a weird style, and kind of their strengths took away some of the, were kind of outlined some weaknesses maybe on the UT side, but overall for both teams, on Friday in the Galesburg tournament, both teams were able to look really good.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Joe said about UT. They maybe didn't play their best brand of basketball, but it's the first 2 games of the season, so I don't think there's any sign of concern, and they still did a lot of really good things. The defense was flashy. They played fast. They were efficient on each side of the ball, like we expected this team to be. They showed off their depth. I think they had around 12 different guys get in over those 2 games, and about 10 different guys score. So the depth was on display, and what they can do on each side of the floor to beat teams, I think they proved in both those games against Madison and Little Village. And as Joe said, it wasn't a cakewalk by any means, but it definitely sets them up for this first test this week against Moline. But definitely good for UT to get those 2 games under their belt and show what they can be about.